How's it going, everybody? My name is Almighty Low, and I'm here with a Dishonored 2 review for you guys. So, I'm going to explain the title first, give you some cons, give you some pros, and give you some things you should think about. And then I'm going to give my final verdict. So, I'm adding a new segment in my reviews. Like, this is going to be called, like, FYI. It's kind of like, it's going to be for, like, I don't think it's a con nor a pro. It's just something I think you should know about, and you should, buy the game with these in mind. So yeah, let's get started. Dishonored 2 is a campaign-based game that goes through the story of either Emily Caldwin or Kovor Atano. I played as Emily, so I'll be rating the game from Emily's perspective. But out of out of the stuff I saw, there's not that much different between Emily and Corvo's gameplay. There's just like ability differences. You can have different abilities with Emily than you do with Corvo, but other than that, everything's pretty much the same. But the game starts out of Emily being the Empress, and they are mourning over the anniversary of her mother's death, which just so happens to be the Empress that was killed in the first game. So they're mourning over that. But your aunt Delilah, that nobody knows about, comes in, and she's seeking vengeance because the former emperor, Jessamine's father, like had a daughter, but the daughter wasn't really like a full daughter. They were so it was weird. I don't really fully know. I might have to play through it again, but the Delilah went through some hardships. I don't want to really spoil that. I don't know if that's spoiler or not, but she comes back for vengeance and to take over the throne. Even your own military in this game goes against you in attempts of doing a military coup, or it'll just be a coup in this point. So you must go in the hideout, do some research on how you should kill Delilah, and then come back and then take your throne back. On the journey, you'll meet allies, foes, and key figures that will play major roles throughout the game. Now I'm going to do the cons of the game, and my first con is the inconsistent game flow. And what I mean by that is the game could go from a slice and dice, where you're just going through enemies, breeze and pie them, without having any difficulty, to a very difficult time. I don't necessarily mind difficulty, but it's almost like you go from Superman with all the strength and powers to a track star just running around to survive. Even with the stealth, there are some spots in the game where you gotta be lucky to finesse through the game. With this topic, different enemy types come into play. The regular humans are super easy, so those are the types that you can slice and dice through and not have to worry about them, even if you're fighting a mass amount of them. But once you start fighting the witches or the clockworkers, that's when the Usain Bolt comes out of you, and you start running around trying to survive so you can find some cover and go stealth again. For my second con, I have the lack of a need to upgrade. With all the ruins to collect, you would think there would be some awesome upgrades in store for you, but that's wrong. The only upgrades I found useful were the Far Reach and the Vitality upgrades. The rest were barely used, and with a 9-chapter game, you can't expect a player to even need all of them. Now with the cons out of the way, I will now be moving on to the pros. So for my first pro is the engaging story. This story held up from the beginning to the end. I was interested in every part of the story. This story gave you good reasons to hate Delilah while liking the character you played as, which was either Corvo or Emily. Also, depending on the level of chaos, the character react to things in that manner. So if you were killing a lot of people, slicing and dicing, your character would sound like a murderer. But if you were going non-lethal, your character would sound like he cared about the kingdom, or whatever you want to call it. Pretty much, I never got bored of the story. My second pro of this game is the ability to play your way. In this game, you can choose on how you want to play the game. You can go through the game killing nobody, or you can be like me and kill anybody that stands in your way. Also, you can choose to play in no powers mode, where you don't have to gather runes to upgrade. You just worry about the bone charms, and like I said earlier, you can choose the character you play as. My third pro of this game is the replayability. Things that I named earlier, like play your way, aren't really common in 2016. You can go through the game as Corvo, no powers, non-lethal on very hard, or you can go through the game as Emily with powers, lethal on easy. The replayability allows you to play this game over and over and over again with the ability to choose different types of play styles. This is very uncommon in 2016, which is why I feel like this game is priced at $60. Now I'll be moving on to the FYI portion. I don't know what I'm really gonna call it, but we just gonna call it the FYI portion. These are just some things I think the consumer should know before buying the game, so they really not going in ass naked, if you know what I'm talking about. So the first FYI, whatever you want to call it, is this game doesn't really hold your hand, so play smart. This game will punish you sometimes. I found this game to be punishing, so just play smart. The second one I have is conserve all your ammo until you need it. The third one I have is use mana correctly and accordingly. If found without mana, you're basically shit out of luck. And the final FYI thing, whatever you want to call it, is explore the world, excuse me. Find all the black market shops you can to buy useful tools. For the final verdict, Dishonored 2 is a fun game that has lacks in a few areas. These lacks can make some people not want to play this game at all. I rate this game an 8.5 out of 10 or B average. If you are into stealth games, I recommend this game for you. But if you're looking for something that you can run through quickly, I say look somewhere else.